Now I used obviously the More ABBA Gold CD for this, 1992 3 Trethoff edition. Also I checked it against the Polydor CD of the Ring Ring album and my version as included on the UK edition of the 1974 Waterloo LP. Now that's as close to the original master as there'll be. It's an original 1974 copy. So, to start with then, the stereo on the More ABBA Gold is inverse from the other two, and I'm quoting from the stereo on the More ABBA Gold. And also, the Waterloo edition is the warmest sounding one. Ring Ring version is just downright muffled and horrible. The More ABBA Gold one is probably the best sounding one on CD. Maybe Thank You for the Music, slightly more punchy and vibrant, but the More ABBA Gold one sounds more like ABBA than the Jonsson or Astley remasters ever did. So now I can go on and talk about the Anomalies. Right, now out of phase at 6 seconds, there's no I was, as in I was sitting by the phone. Now it's more interesting if you listen in phase, and the More ABBA Gold version is probably the one to listen to here because it's just slightly brighter than the other two. Much brighter than the Ring Ring version, sorry. You're listening out for the toms, you're listening out for the percussion that's on the right hand side, and you're listening out for the acoustic guitar which is on the left hand side. The toms are the most obvious one. Before 6 seconds, during the introduction, the toms on the fourth beat, which are very accented and heavy, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, they have a different sound quality to them from after the 6 seconds during the verse 1. Also, at 6 seconds, the acoustic guitar slightly loses the pattern, and when it regains control and goes back into time, as it were, it's slightly different rhythm from before the 6 second pointer, and similarly with the percussion on the right hand side, very, very subtle. Now at 19 seconds out of phase, you can hear an edit in the word you. This is baby by myself I sit and wait and wonder about you. There's an edit. Now Ring Ring is an absolutely brilliant recording. Very simple in structure, very simple in chord formation, but what sets this song apart is the absolutely stunning techniques that we use in recording. I talked about the sort of way ABBA achieved their wall of sound effect when we were doing Lay All Your Love on Me on the first ABBA Gold series. So go back to that one because I read out a chunk on them from ABBA by ABBA. But here we know that there's bound to have been some sort of editing going on because those drums that come in at 35 seconds are absolutely phenomenal. They really do pack a punch. If you listen on a sort of average car stereo or iPod or something, you'll feel that there's some sort of impact going on there. Get it onto a decent hi-fi on a CD and you'll feel a punch in those drums. If you get the original vinyl version, you'll hear sticks hitting those drums, and hopefully you know, with any sort of upgrades, you should actually almost see those sticks flying around in the air hitting the drums. So I mean, they really are phenomenal. There is no way that they could have done that if they'd just carried on, if the drummer had just carried on drumming from the bit before. You would have had to have recorded that little bit as a separate entity and sort of edited it in. And at 35 seconds and 42 seconds, and at similar points in verse 2, that's 152 and 159, those are the edit points where that bit has been sort of slipped in, as it were. it works slightly better. You can hear it. You can hear the edits out of phase. They work slightly better in the first verse. In the second verse, it's just a little bit sudden, especially where the chorus comes back in on the second time. It's slightly sloppier edit. Sloppy was the word I wrote in my notes here. Right, I'm prefacing this with a health warning. Really, you shouldn't do this, but occasionally, if I want to hear what's really going on, I go right up to a speaker and stick my ear to it, which is probably quite bad for your hearing, but don't do it for too long. And make sure it's not so loud there. At 46 seconds then, by sticking my head right up to the speaker, I can hear that there is a slight increase in volume. It goes back down again. It must have just been an edit of some point. Right, now I'm betraying my anorak status here. 51 seconds out of phase on the more ABBA Gold edition. During the happiest sound of them all, on the word happiest, there is a slightly over-prominent symbol. Now, I heard this on vinyl, just listening on speakers. Haven't heard it on headphones on either of the other CD editions I've listened to. Neither have I heard it in phase on more ABBA Gold. But it's definitely there out of phase. At 103, there are some quite prominent guitar strums. Out of phase at 103, compared to the following guitar strum, this one is curtailed, slightly abrupt. Similarly, at 220, only it sounds worse out of phase. In phase, the one at 103 almost disappears before you've heard it. Funnily enough, the one at 220 actually sounds better in phase than the one at 103. Now, at 1 minute 10 seconds, there is a slightly out of time tom beat. It's during the words ring, ring, in between them. Okay, it's a bit strange. They get round it on the second verse by not having that tom beat at all. Instead, there's a crash cymbal just before them. Must have been covering some sort of edit. Now, at 123, we've just heard one of my favourite ever guitar licks that has appeared on an ABBA record. Absolutely stroke of genius, I think that guitar lick is. But at the end of it, it's cut off slightly abruptly, and then you hear a sort of it abruptly come back in for the little licks after Agneta singing "You Were Here and Then You're Gone," and then it comes back in there slightly abruptly. You can't hear it so much in phase because reverb covereth a multitude of sins. And finally, people, at 2:31, another strange one here. Listening to more ABBA Gold on headphones, the toms go slightly out of time at 2:31. I can't hear that on the Ring Ring CD, but then again, it's very low down in the mix, and the Ring Ring CD version is so muffled. I also can't really hear it on the vinyl version, but it's definitely there on the more ABBA Gold one. As I say, that's a brighter edition. You can hear much further into the mix on that one than you can on either of the other two. So, that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Bye.